Did you know FC Barcelona legend Gerard Piqué isn't just collecting trophies, he's been making billion-dollar moves off the field? While he was still playing, his company Kosmos signed a reported $3 billion 25-year agreement to co-run tennis's Davis Cup. I'm Mark, and you're watching Kickin Riches. If you love deep breakdowns on how stars build empires, tap like and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've combed ITF press releases, Reuters wires, and old interviews to map out exactly what he did. Here's the wild part. This wasn't a sponsorship. Kosmos stepped in to safeguard the future of the competition, change the format, and help build a year-end finals in Madrid. It was bold, it was risky, and it put a footballer in the middle of a historic tennis overhaul. Also, quick mythbuster. That $3 billion is the total value of the long deal over decades, not money wired to Piqué's bank on day one. So why did a defender decide to reshape a 120-year-old tennis event? And how did he get tennis bosses to say yes? Drop a comment. Did you expect Piqué to pull off a multi-billion sports deal while still playing? I checked the ITF news to confirm the jaw-dropping figure. That headline-grabbing collaboration would transform tennis, until it didn't. What happened next? Why would a football star invest in a tennis tournament? Piqué believed the Davis Cup was a sleeping giant. In 2018, Kosmos and the ITF signed a 25-year agreement to revamp the century-old event. The promise was simple: bigger prize money, cleaner scheduling, and a modern finals week that could pull TV dollars and new fans. Reuters reported the deal's value at about $3 billion across the term, a massive swing for a company led by an active player. Piqué didn't want to just sponsor, he wanted a seat at the table as co-organizer. The line we kept seeing in the announcements was that the plan would safeguard the future of the competition. The first finals in Madrid drew attention and big names, and for a minute it looked like a proof of concept. I pulled the ITF's 2018 announcement and press around it. That exact wording about safeguarding the future was front and center. Was this the turning point tennis needed? What do you think Piqué saw that others missed? The ambition was off the charts, and it was unheard of for a current soccer star to lead a deal like this. But in 2023, the partnership split. So if the vision sounded right, what went wrong? What happens when your multi-billion plan unravels? In January 2023, only 5 years into a 25-year agreement, the ITF terminated the Davis Cup partnership with Kosmos. Their statement cited financial contingencies, which is a very polite way of saying the money math wasn't working. Between hosting costs, revenue expectations, and the real-world chaos we all lived through, the project hit heavy turbulence. Kosmos fired back fast. They filed a case at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, arguing the contract was cut unfairly and seeking damages. I read the ITF notice myself. They literally used that phrase, financial contingencies. For months, the headlines moved from sports pages to legal pages. It was tense, expensive, and public. Then, in March 2025, the ITF announced the dispute was amicably settled. No victory laps, no loud numbers, just a quiet ending to a very loud idea. Have you ever had a big project fall apart? Should Piqué have seen this coming? Tell me below. I dug through Reuters updates and official statements to track the timeline. So, with tennis tied up in lawyers and press, what did Piqué do next? He pivoted hard and built something totally different and way more internet native. So tennis didn't pan out as planned. What did Piqué try next? He launched the Kings League, a 7-a-side football league run like the internet. Streamers and former pros own teams. Matches are short, rules are fun, and everything is built for Twitch and TikTok attention. Fans don't just watch, they interact. Here's why this matters: the numbers. Spain's business outlet Cinco Días reported the league pulled in about 20.5 million euros in revenue in 2023, its first full year. Then in mid-2024, it raised 60 million from investors to expand. That is real traction. There's already an Italian spin-off with Zlatan Ibrahimovic involved as president, and more countries are on the roadmap. Piqué used digital tools too. Some teams sold fan tokens and experimented with NFTs. Love it or hate it, that mix of sport and tech made the league a viral brand fast. I pulled the Cinco Días report for those exact numbers. Hard data, not hype. Is this the future of sports? Smash like if you'd watch a match where your favorite streamer is a team owner. Kings League proved Pique could build, not just buy. But it wasn't his only bet. He also put serious money into a tiny club with a giant dream. Ever wonder what a struggling football club needs most? In 2018, Pique took over FC Andorra, a small team buried in Spain's lower tiers. It was loaded with debt and short on hope. Through Kosmos, he injected more than 15 million euros over the next few years, and even cleared an old $300,000 debt right away. That money hired staff, improved the squad, and upgraded the setup. The payoff? By 2023 to 2025, Andorra had earned 2 promotions and returned to Spain's second division, one step below La Liga. Local press called it a rebirth. I dug up AS reports spelling out the investment total and the promotions. This is the slow, patient path that most fans never see. It's not splashy, it's steady. Would you pour millions into a tiny club for the love of the game? Vote in the poll or drop a comment. For me, this shows how an athlete can use brand, capital, and attention to rebuild something real. But money on the pitch is only part of the story. Pique also moved behind the cameras, where the real power and risk often lives. How else can a sports exec make money? Pique went where the eyeballs are, broadcast rights and digital. In 2021, Kosmos acquired Spanish TV rights to France's Ligue 1 and even secured rights around a marquee Argentina versus Brazil match, acting like a mini media house. Sportsment Media covered those deals in detail. Owning distribution is where leverage lives. On the tech side, Pique leaned into fan tokens and NFTs. Kings League teams sold digital assets to involve supporters, and he invested in startups like Socios.com, the blockchain platform behind many fan tokens. Put together, that's content plus tech, not just events. Control the screen and the platform, and you control more of the revenue stack. I referenced that Sportsmint report to confirm the rights moves. It's clear the strategy was to build a full-stack sports company, leagues, clubs, rights, and digital products. Have you ever bought a fan token or watched a brand new format league? Tell me what worked and what didn't in the comments. But when you juggle leagues, clubs, rights, and crypto buzz, you also invite heat. The bigger the spotlight, the more people look for cracks. And yes, the heat came. With all these ventures, did Pique face any dark clouds? Absolutely. The Davis Cup split turned into a legal fight. Kosmos filed a case after the ITF pulled the plug, and both sides finally settled it amicably in 2025. Reuters kept noting Pique as the founder and president of Kosmos, so his name was tied to every headline, good or bad. In Spain, more questions popped up. Media reports probed whether Kosmos earned commissions tied to Supercopa broadcast deals. Goal.com and others mentioned figures around 10 million euros in commissions. To be clear, as of early 2025, there are no proven charges from those stories, and Pique has maintained his innocence. Still, he has been called to testify in related inquiries, which keeps the narrative alive in the press. We scoured recent news and public court notes so we could stick to facts, not gossip. This is the trade-off of being a high-profile founder. Big deals come with big scrutiny. Fans cheer the wins and dissect the gray areas. So what do these storms mean for his legacy? Are we seeing a mogul who takes risks, or a star learning painful lessons in public? Either way, the playbook is rich with clues. So was Pique's venture into sports business a masterclass or a minefield? Honestly, both. On the win side, he put more than 15 million euros into FC Andorra and helped the club climb back into Spain's second tier. He built Kings League into a brand that made 20.5 million euros in 2023 and raised 60 million to grow. Those are real receipts. On the loss side, the Davis Cup deal, once valued in headlines at $3 billion, ended early and slid into lawsuits before settling quietly. Here's my takeaway as an athlete-turned-operator fam. Brand power opens doors, but expertise closes deals and keeps them alive. You need sharp operators, clear contracts, and realistic models. Fame is the launch boost, not the engine. Due diligence, patient capital, and product fit matter way more than a spotlight. Which outcome surprises you most, the viral league or the collapsed tennis deal? Comment with your biggest takeaway. We've crunched numbers from AS, Cinco Dias, Reuters, and ITF notes to keep this grounded. Ready for the final whistle? Let's wrap it up and talk about what comes next for Piqué and maybe for your own side hustle playbook. What will Piqué's next move be, and what will other athletes learn from his playbook? From a $3 billion Davis Cup bet to a viral 7-a-side league to rebuilding a tiny club, he went all in on sports business and felt both knockouts and knockdowns. The lesson is simple. Dream big, but manage risk bigger. We dug through official statements and news archives so you get the clean version, not the rumor mill. If this helped you see the business behind the badge, hit subscribe, like, and share with a friend who still thinks athletes just retire to the beach. And yes, you're on Kickin Riches, where we make sense of the money moves behind the beautiful game. Thanks for watching. What do you think? Should retired stars start companies or stick to one field? If you had Piqué's platform, what would you build first? Drop your thoughts below, and I'll jump into the comments. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. See you in the next one.